Welcome to the Silverstone Technology Cluster's Ask the Expert podcast. I'm Jeannie, your host. The mission of the STC is to support advanced engineering, electronics and software businesses, and we're always keen to share industry knowledge and insights. In each podcast episode, we sit down with seasoned professionals and industry leaders to uncover valuable knowledge, share real-world experiences, and explore smart strategies for navigating the challenges of modern business in advanced engineering. Hello, and today I'm joined by Professor Kerry Kirwan. He's the Dean of WMG here at Warwick University. And we are in the incredible Lord Bhattacharya building, which is one of the state-of-the-art facilities here at WMG, where you're really focusing on bringing together research, education, and industry to turn ideas into real-world innovations.
Indeed, and that's what WMG Warwick Manufacturing Group's all about. We've been doing this for 45 years. We were originally set up by Lord Bhattacharya to bridge that gap between academia and industry as it was at that time, and essentially deliver real-world solutions to our industrial partners in the region. So that's where it all began. It wasn't just research, it was also education as well. It is quite unique, that combination of research, innovation, education, embedded within our industrial partners who are here even in this building, and this is, we call this NAIC, so this is National Automotive Innovation Centre, but it's NAIC for short.
I mean, I've had the pleasure of having a bit of a tour earlier around and seeing some of the work that your students are doing, and for me it's such a different environment from a typical university here. So
we try to make sure all our students get a really hands-on experience. It's not just the sort of academic lectures, I won't say chalk and talk, but it's more than that. It's also about them getting real world experience, hands-on building things. We have lots of projects between WMG and the engineering department where they spend weeks and weeks with us building things like human-powered submarines, like racing cars, like motorbikes and things like that they design. They put a business package around them as well, so they cover things like sponsorship and management and things like that as well. So it's not just the technical bits, they're getting those wider skills that are so important in industry. They go to competitions, which is great, a great experience for them again in that respect, but what we find is they are highly sought after by our industrial partners and many other industrial partners as well. It's one of the unique things we have here. We're very blessed with lots of facilities and equipment that allows us to go beyond that sort of classroom type lecturing.
I mean, I think you've already painted a bit of a picture for me as to what kind of students you're turning out here at WMG. What kind of impact are they making when they get into industry?
So some of the students, so we get all different types of impact actually. So some of them are going into really, really great jobs in sort of, F1, some of the other motor racing teams. They're also going into things like motorbike organisations or companies. Some of them setting up on their own as well. We've got quite an entrepreneurial spirit, so some of them are setting up their own businesses, whether that be in sort of some sort of element of what their projects were, sort of whether it be electronics, whether it be some of the computing or AI developments they'd be doing, and they spin out their own little projects companies as well. Which so there really is quite a breath of fresh air. They're great. They are absolutely wonderful. They're one of the best parts of the job is actually seeing their development sort of over a period of time and hearing about what it is they've been doing. Sometimes I'm quite jealous because I don't get to actually go to all the great places that they get to go to.
It's great to see their enthusiasm and what they're doing, and actually the work they're doing it's incredible, and you wouldn't believe, with some of what I've seen today, you wouldn't believe that these are students.
Yeah, well, the sum up is the Waste to Race car was hand built by our students. They helped us do it. It was sort of 5 months from concept to delivery. And again, students played a really hands-on role, whether it was redesigning the battery system in it. They took it down from, it was originally it was 3 times the size of what it finished up sort of thing. They managed to repackage it and reconfigure it and things like that, down to helping build some of the composites, sort of body panels and things like that, and actually assembly, wiring, you name it, they were able to get involved with it. And even that's going to continue. It's a live sort of experiment or a live development test bed sort of thing. So bits are going on, bits are coming off. So it's always there for them to play with. And they say that's the same with all the projects. They are literally evolving all the time.
Yeah, new ideas, new minds,
new ways of thinking,
developing that. I mean, we're talking about getting these young people out into the workforce, and they're already making a difference when they go to businesses. Do you work with businesses as well to support their current workforce, upscaling, helping them develop new capabilities, moving with new technologies?
Absolutely. So we span the whole range of sort of skills development, more or less. We start off, we have academies or UTCs. They are now running from GCSE and A levels. We do degree apprenticeships with the likes of Jaguar Land Rover and Tata. We've got a large number of those who've passed through, so that's helping them upskill in-house. We also have degrees and masters and doctorates as well, so that covers a different range of things. And now we've sort of also developed our skills centre, which enables that sort of re-skilling, perhaps a bit later on in life or perhaps in a different career pathway, in a more informal sort of do-it-as-you-can type approach. And then obviously we've got opportunities in the whole lifelong learning area as well. So we really do cover a massive amount of areas, but it's all driven by industrial requirements. So what are the skills industry needs, not just now, but also in the future? So we're seeing some really interesting concepts or areas come through. So things like, AI is coming into it a lot now. We're seeing a lot of demand for AI and robotics. That's one of our biggest things, cybersecurity, all those sort of things. So it's not just the traditional engineering skills we're seeing, it's actually evolutions of them or combinations of them with other things.
Yeah, so we're talking about communicating with businesses, communicating with industry to help them with the challenges that they're having. How does that process work? How do you go about doing that and connecting with industry?
So it depends on, I think it depends on who it is we're dealing with. Some of them, we've got some very long established relationships. They're kind of people we would talk to weekly almost, and they'll be sort of, quite meaty, big challenges that we're looking at over quite often a longer term, very large scale sort of problems. But equally, we have sort of a great SME team who will get a call from someone who's got a problem. They'll go out and they'll try and help them, perhaps just resolve the issue in a week or two. It's that kind of thing. We have a whole myriad of opportunities and ways of making things happen. So quite often funding's a requirement, but we can look at all different mechanisms from sort of very short, small scale, low cost interventions all the way through to multi-million pound, multi-year R&D projects or innovation delivery activities, and the whole continuum in between. Student projects, master's projects, doctorate projects, literally it's a whole smorgasbord of ways we can work with different companies of different sizes.
Yeah, I think I'll get the details for that SME team so that we can share those in the show notes, because I know that there's a lot of people that would want to get involved or even just have those conversations and find out what kind of support is there.
It's WMG SME at warwick.ac.uk.
Oh, well done. You know that. Brilliant. So now I want to talk to you about sort of WMG, how you fit in with the ecosystem around you. And I know that there's something called the High Value Manufacturing Catapult. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is and where you fit in?
Absolutely. So the High Value Manufacturing Catapult, or HVMC, we do like our acronyms.
Yes.
Is essentially it's a collection of organisations that exist in the manufacturing space, and we all come from different manufacturing areas. So some are in composites predominantly, some are in aerospace, some are in sort of process industries, and we sort of come together as an organisation under the HVMC banner. And the idea is that we help companies, as say, upscale, bridge that valley of death that's always the well-recognised problem in the UK, and then get on towards sort of commercialisation and support them in that pathway. More recently, we're seeing a lot of interest in cross-catapult activities. So whereas before we worked very much with the automotive sector, as challenges and sectors and getting percolation of technologies across sectors, we're starting to see a lot more cross-catapult activities as well, because they require different types of thinking. And so it's a really interesting model but the whole focus is just to support industry in getting real-world impact and overcoming the challenges they've got to get to market.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and it's great that you've got that community and that catapult here, and so accessible as well.
Yeah, it's another one that's very easy to get hold of, and the other thing is, of course, you might approach one catapult centre, and certainly I've had this happen recently. We approach one catapult centre and we sort of say, well, actually we can't do that, but we do know the centre that does. So you make that link as well. It's a network. It's sort of UK manufacturing pulling together. We're not competing with each other necessarily. We're competing with the rest of the world and things like that. So it's a really good initiative, a great umbrella organisation. They're very pleased to be part of.
I mean, it's great to see support and sharing of resources, and that's how we move forward. So for you to do that on the daily.
Absolutely. Again, the Waste to Race car, if there's parts on there made by other HVMC centres for us, because they had the capability or the facilities in order to do that. And again, it's a great example of pulling lots of people together and just using our assets as we need to.
Talking about the waste to race car, because you explained that to me a little bit when we were looking at it earlier. Can you tell me a little bit about what WMG is doing to make a greener future to help with sustainability? Because that's a great example.
So my actual background is sustainable materials and manufacturing. I'm chair of sustainable manufacturing here. So we've been working for years and years and years on sort of green stuff, whether that be and strangely we've always used motor racing as a great example, because it's not necessarily things people put together, or they didn't many years ago. So there's a great opportunity there. So we've done everything from composite materials, different bodyworks, recycled carbon fibre, different fuel systems, different propulsion systems. Trying to think what else we've had, even down to sort of things like aerodynamics and sort of what do you do with these things at the end of life as well. So we've covered a wide range of things, but the idea was never to put any of this stuff necessarily into them. It's a great demonstrator of what the capabilities of the materials, the processes are, and it captures people's imagination. But actually what we found, say from the world first racing car, which was sort of 15 years ago, Formula 3 platform, the technologies actually ended up in mainstream automotive. They also ended up in things like home computers, believe it or not, and also consumer white goods as well. So it was that sort of showing the capabilities of what some of these materials do, because there's always a reputation that sustainable materials were somehow inferior or not as good as sort of traditional or virgin materials and things like that. It's just not true. And we proved that, particularly with the recycled carbon fibre. We showed it actually, in some instances, it was as good as virgin carbon fibre, and sometimes, believe it or not, it was actually better, which was a little bit bizarre, but that was more of we understand why that was, but it's sort of never been considered in sort of those high demanding applications until we sort of got to grips with it. And now it's being sort of exploited in lots of places.
Yeah, I mean, aside from sustainability, what do you see as some of the big changes that are coming with manufacturing? You know, we've got AI, we've got digitalization of certain functions. What are those changes, in your opinion, that are coming?
So many of the changes are indeed AI, the use of it, the potential use of it, or unfortunately potential misuse of it in certain instances. It's reimagining how things are designed as well. It's helping us in terms of sort of, if you combine that with sort of immersive technologies, you know, there's ways of designing things that just people would not normally think of designing, and optimizing it. You can optimize it in the virtual world, and then and there's a question is, can you manufacture it in the real world? And there's that kind of technology being developed at the moment. There's also the idea of developing new materials that can be done again virtually, using AI to give us improved properties. And again, it's that the challenge at the moment is the theory works great, but what does it come out like in practice? But there's also other things like cyber, a massive area as well, which is growing in terms of that. Supply chain resilience. And one thing we learned with COVID was actually optimizing for everything. You know, optimizing in certain ways wasn't necessarily the right way to do it. Resilience is more important, so you can withstand those shocks. Obviously, circular economy principles or sort of more green thinking, and the fact that we are kind of in a world of tariffs and trade wars, which will play out in our manufacturing day-to-day activities. So there's a real sort of interesting mishmash of stuff going on that we need to stay on top of.
I think supply chain is a big challenge that is definitely coming. What did WMG do to help support businesses with their operations and their supply chain?
So we work at, as I said before, we work at all levels. So we work with sort of very sort of one person and a lathe type operations, all the way through to massive multinational operations. So we naturally work up and down the whole supply chain. And part of it is sometimes brokering, is bringing those people together, but also optimizing for whatever the value of that supply chain needs to be. Now that could be resilience. It used to be cost. Now it's more resilience, flexibility perhaps. Could be sustainability and things like that. So we have supply chain teams working for different reasons with different supply chains, looking at how that value proposition for that supply chain and how we deliver it.
Okay, and for any of our STC members or non-members for that fact that may be listening or watching, how can they get involved? What opportunities are there for them to get involved with WMG?
So we're always always very pleased to work with new partners, new organisations, new challenges. and they can drop us a line at any point. We have lots of sort of opportunity to come to campus and have a look around. We also go out on the road as well a lot, see us a lot of trade shows. So there's a whole myriad of ways to get in touch with us. And quite often what we also do, which is quite interesting, is actually we come across people that have got the same problem but aren't aware of each other. So there's the opportunity to have that brokerage type activity as well, which actually says if you join forces, you can solve your problem perhaps more easily. And that again helps with the supply chain development as well, because people don't necessarily see too far up and down their supply chain.
And I think that's so true. Collaborating and working together is so important to help us grow, to help us keep innovating.
Absolutely. If we don't, we're seeing more and more cross collaborations. As I say, for multiple reasons. Sometimes it is cost, but other times it is just that awareness of what other people are doing and how that could play into your organisation and actually help address some of your problems. So we do see a lot of sort of symbiotic relationships that are not competitive. They're across perhaps different sectors. So, for example, we work a lot with the water sector and the automotive sector, and that seems a very strange combination. But actually, some of their challenges are quite common. But there's no issues with them working together. It's not anyone gets a competitive advantage out of it. They're addressing simple problems. And again, in the skills space, I mean that's happening all the time now, because actually the skills that organisations are looking for are becoming more and more common. They're no longer siloed. They are kind of broadening out dramatically.
Yeah, I was having
a common challenge in quite disparate organisations and companies.
I was having a conversation with another member the other day about that and about those transferable skills and how they're focusing so much on making sure that their students have sort of those core transferable skills that they're not engineering skills, they're not technical skills, but they're skills that you can carry across industry, which help you connect with people and help to make those great connections, make you easier. It makes it easier for you to be a part of a team. It makes it easier for you to fit in with businesses. And actually, they're the things that are so important, because the other skills you can learn.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, our students are, our degree students or our sort of degree apprentices. Yes, they learn technical skills, but those broader skills, as you say, teamwork, business. They do some marketing, sponsorship, communication, all those other ones that need to be factored in to their experience as well, because they are just so important. And you do see people moving between these different sectors quite easily, actually, and that's got to be good. The truth of the matter is we just need more people with those skills just in general across. It doesn't matter which sector you're in, it's actually a shortage of UK general skills that we need to address.
And I think coming out of COVID as well and lockdowns, and I think we are very slowly drawing that back out. But I do think that we lost a little bit of that at that time.
So, I mean, we sort of call COVID the Great Reset, because a lot of people very, quite understandably had a period of time where the world changed a bit and had to rethink about what it was they wanted to do. And so many people changed direction and went off and did different things. How many coffee shops were open just after COVID? I don't know, I hate to say. And artisan bakeries, and this feeling that work and enjoyment can be the same thing. It doesn't have to be either or. You can have both. So, and that's sort of a big migration of people from perhaps traditional sort of sectors into these new emergent sort of opportunities. So we're now trying to fill those gaps.
Well, fill the technical gaps, really, because we have that huge skills gap. And from what you're doing here and from what I've seen today, it seems like you're doing your utmost to really bridge that gap and to make sure that you are turning out the very best young professionals that you can. So it's fantastic work.
Yeah, well, we're very proud of them. They're our best asset. They are our best advert we can have. I can stand in front of people and wax lyrical about how good they are, but actually when you see them, when you meet them, and when you see what they've done, that speaks far more than what I can say, quite frankly. They are absolutely unbelievable, and we're very proud of them. There's a lot of hard work goes into making that happen, creating the environment for that to happen, but we do pretty well, and we've been doing it for a number of years. And they say we're not just doing it locally or regionally, we're doing it internationally as well.
Yeah, and I think the level of confidence that's coming out of these young people, how comfortable they are talking about their ideas, how excited they are talking about their ideas and what they're building, it's absolutely fantastic to see. So, well done to you and everyone here that's making that happen.
It's been going. It's well done to the team for the last sort of 35, 40 years for delivering this. And as I say, it was all about the charity's vision that's how things should be, and testimony to thousands of people who bought into that vision. So it's a lovely legacy to be custodian of.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with me today. Thank you for allowing me a look in to meet some of your students, to have a look at some of their work, and thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Yeah, no worries at all. Absolutely brilliant. Please, you're welcome back anytime you want.
Yeah, it's been great to learn about WMG and what you do here and what you're working towards in the future. So hopefully we see those things just keep happening.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for joining me, Kerry.
Bye.
That's it for this episode of Ask the Expert. Thank you so much for listening or watching. We hope you picked up some useful insights and inspiration along the way. If you enjoyed the conversation, please give us a like, share or rating on the platform you're using. Please follow Silverstone Technology Cluster on LinkedIn and subscribe to the STC YouTube channel or our podcast on Spotify or Apple, so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you, so if you have any comments, a particular topic or a guest you'd love to hear from, please drop me an email to Jeannie@silverstonetechnologycluster.com. Bye for now.